Lynn is a 26-year-old Vietnamese American and a licensed massage therapist. Lynn has called the office asking for counseling regarding the death of her sister. While getting to know her briefly on the phone, she lets the therapist know that her sister was 5 years older than her and that she died in a car accident. During the initial visit, Lynn mentions that she lost her sister about 9 months ago in a car wreck. It was raining and her sister took her eyes off the road for a few moments and she unfortunately crashed into a tree. Lynn says that her death was sudden and that she got the news while she was at the massage appointment. She expressed feeling like she's falling apart and she feels like it's getting worse as time goes on. She wants to cry all the time, is irritable, unmotivated, and always feels tired, which makes her sleep a lot. Her sister May was not only her sister, but also a close friend. They talked about intimate things, they gave each other advice, and unfortunately, she doesn't feel like she's getting the support that she needs. Her husband makes her feel isolated and like she's not able to express her emotions, and she doesn't have many people that she can trust during these hard times.
I'll be presenting on Lynn's current functions. Her grief reaction, she's very emotional. She has mentioned that she has low motivation, fatigue, changes to her sleep, and appetite and irritability. For her behavior, Lynn has expressed that she feels more irritable lately, expressing she gets angry with her boss more often. She also mentions that she has lost motivation to open her own practice, as her sister was her biggest motivator. And few impairments that Lynn is currently facing do involve her husband, who isn't supportive and doesn't seem to understand how to help Lynn cope. He will avoid her or make jokes to try to cheer her up. Her mother is also trying to cope, but Lynn has decided to stay strong for her mother. Her friends don't seem to understand or know how to help her cope and are uncomfortable when near her. And some coping that Lynn does is that she does try to stay busy, but has no energy and it's hard to get excited about things. She did say that when she is alone, she does let loose and cry, but feels lonely afterwards. But this is far and few in between due to her husband always being around.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe and I will be going over Lynn's strengths and supports. Although she's going through a really hard time after losing her sister, she still shows a lot of strengths that could be a great help to getting her through this difficult time in her life. First, she's proven to be very responsible. The study mentions how she keeps going to work, and even though it feels exhausting, and that she showed up on time, that she's willing to get the help that she needs. She's obviously very resilient because, like we said, that she actually reached out for counseling instead of keeping it all in, and she's willing to attend these sessions. I think she's also very self-aware and is very open to talking about her feelings with a social worker as displayed in the case. She does have some support, like her mom and her husband. Her and her husband are kind of going through a tough time right now. It's hard to communicate with him because he just doesn't understand grief because he's never gone through it. However, I think that at this point it's possible to reconnect them and help him understand grief in her eyes. I think that's something we could work on. I think it's a great starting support for her. I also would like to note that she mentions like having been excited about starting her own business, which shows how motivated and capable she really is. So overall, even in grief, Lynn is strong, caring, and willing to get help. That gives her a solid foundation to keep moving forward.
Hi, my name is Samaya Berkeley, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the 2 interventions that my group would recommend for our client, Lena. So for our intervention, the first one, we would recommend cognitive behavioral therapy for grief, also known as CBTG. I got this intervention out the textbook under Chapter 4, Expectant and Traumatic Grief in Adults. I believe CBT helps clients like Lena and would help Lena identify and challenge unhelpful and negative thoughts that make grief harder to manage. So, for example, in the session, Lena said, I feel like I should be over this by now, or something to that effect. So, in the CBT therapy, she would challenge that negative mindset by saying something like, Grief is a process, and I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm taking it day by day. She acknowledged the negative thoughts, but also flipped it to turn it into something positive, because grief is always a work in progress. So, according to the book, cognitive approaches such as the CBT therapy help clients process the loss while also restoring emotional regulation and daily functioning. So, in Lena's case, sessions would probably look like journaling, finding some relaxation exercises, and also helping her re engage with activities and things that she's enjoyed on a regular day basis. So overall, I believe CBTG would be a very good intervention for Lena because it helps address negative feelings about grief, help find ways to better cope with grief, and also help her after grief. So thank you so much for listening.
Some intervention techniques I would recommend for Mrs. Lynn Wynn's case. Using the strengths-based framework, I would recommend developing a consistent self-care routine that promotes self-advocating behaviors that align with Lynn's interests as well. This can look like journaling, going on walks, spending quality and communicative time with their mother and husband, perhaps bringing up some of those concerns she presented with during her intake interview, like not feeling emotionally fulfilled by her husband. And continuing to get massages. She mentioned she liked doing that in her intake interview, and I think she should continue doing that as a form of self-care. I also recommend for Mrs. Wynn that she takes some bereavement time off of work if possible. Mrs. Wynn mentioned that the only time she had called out of work following the loss of her sister was when she came down with a cold. She also mentioned barely being able to get out of bed and go to work, as well as feeling high irritability towards her boss. For Mrs. Wynn's well-being, if she is able to, I recommend she take some time off of work to focus on processing her grief and engage in some of the self-care strategies listed above.